All right, let's get right to it. ESPN's Nick Friedell. He covered the Warriors out here for a while. Just a basketball savant. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
Our guy.
I mean, Steiny, I felt like I knew a bunch of stuff, and then I laughed at the idea of James Harden being able to drop 40-plus still in that Sixers series. And every time he plays, aside from games 2 and 3, I get angry Sixers fans screaming at me on social media. So that's knocked me down a step, but I persist on.
Well, the bottom line is Harden, like Klay Thompson, they still have great games in them. They're just not coming as frequently. What have you been seeing with the Warriors and the Lakers?
That is 100% what I feel when I watch this group, guys, because you know what Steph is going to give you every time. And having watched it day to day for 3-4 years and now seen it from a distance, not only in this postseason, but throughout the last year plus, this is the best I've ever seen Steph play. The issue to me is you just don't know who else is going to be there for him night to night. And it's certainly within Klay to still be a great player and have great moments. But the thing, as all three of us know, is what defined Klay prior to the injuries was the consistency. Every time he stepped on the floor, even if that shot wasn't going down, defensively, he was a game changer. He set a tone on that end that everybody else could follow. And now you just don't see that. And that's what's worrisome. I'm not buying that, all right, the Warriors lose tonight or they lose game 6 and it's all over and you close the book. On this iteration, maybe. What happens with Draymond? What happens with Poole? What happens with Bob Myers? You guys are living it day by day. But the thing that scares me for the Warriors is, as beloved as Klay is, I just don't know if the consistency within his game is going to be able to return. And as you move forward, with Steph still in his prime, he'll always give you a chance. I just don't know if that cast around him is nearly as strong.
Man, Nick, I missed you. I know we text, but, man, we got to talk, and I agree with you. But I got to ask you about that cast. So Wiseman, as you know, is no longer here. They drafted him. He's gone. Kuminga 2 months ago or by Christmas, Nick, if I sent you a text, you would have thought, and I'm asking, I was thinking, okay, the light's on. Jordan Poole, 6th man of the year maybe, but that's what we were looking at, like, okay, they're going to help. But, Nick, all of a sudden you're reading, you're looking, Poole's pouting, Kuminga's unplayable or not playing, and again, Wiseman's gone. I'm trying to be positive. Who does that fall on, Nick?
Goo, that is an organizational failure. That's just what it is. I mean, it would start with Kerr and his staff, and the thing that I would come back to is, you remember like a year ago, everybody was like, oh my gosh, they changed out this coaching staff and the development is at a much higher level and everything is different and all these guys are coming along. Let's go back in time when they actually won. When they won the bonus title, who was winning those games besides the Stephs and the Draymonds? It was like Otto Porter and Gary Payton II and these veteran guys who had been through this before and been through moments. I mean, this is what scares me again for the Warriors looking ahead. It's that the Kumingas and the Moody's, I know Moody's gotten back into the rotation. He showed some moments here, especially in the last week or so. But, Goo, that is an issue. Where are you turning? Poole has gone from 6th man of the year, right near the top of that conversation, to almost unplayable. The confidence that defined his game, you can't see it right now. I don't think there's any question that the Draymond punch altered the chemistry within, and as much as you could cover it up when they were winning, at least at home this season, it's clear that it's come back to the forefront. And the fact that, and I'm watching this from a distance, but Poole, who could be outgoing and you know, feel real great about what was going on. He's not even answering questions now, barely, from the media. That is a huge red flag. So that blame goes up and down the organization. But when you have guys that you can't develop or who haven't developed the way that you thought they would, to me, that's on the staff, and that is from Bob Myers and Steve Kerr on down to the coaches that just haven't been able to turn these guys around the way they thought they could.
Nick Friedell joining us. He works for ESPN, used to be in the Bay covering the Warriors. Now he's on the East Coast, but still has his finger on the pulse, no doubt about it. When you're watching the fourth quarter the other night and you see Lonnie Walker do what he does or do what he did, like, what's your first thought?
Holy bleep.
But why?
Steiny, I can't figure out why a Warriors team that is so not just well coached with those veteran guys and have been through it so many times, but how they can allow a guy who didn't even get a shot up prior to that point to just roll over them like that. On top of the Lonnie Walker stuff, the thing that made me just shake my head, and I'm looking at the team going, what the hell is going on out there, is they've, for the first time that I've seen in a long, long time, that is a Warriors group that was swayed by the moment, by the emotion of the game. And you saw it in the shots that Klay was taking. I mean, what in the world? Yeah, and the immediate reactions from Draymond, from Kerr, you could tell they're going, Klay, what the hell are you doing? And Steph not being able to call the timeout and throwing the ball around, and then Draymond getting the ball popped out by LeBron. I mean, there are so many missteps for a team that has such a mental advantage usually over the other group that they're playing. So it just seems like all is not well. And I'm not in there day to day anymore, but I'm talking to enough people that I trust that'll tell you that this has been how it's been throughout the season, in that everybody just feels like, oh, my gosh, there's just a lot. It just felt like there was a lot of drama within this group, and it started with that punch. I mean, that is the reality of the season. The entire tenor of the season changed when that punch that Draymond threw hit Poole, and it hasn't readjusted the way everybody felt. And it's not to say that that's the only reason why. Of course not. There are a lot of reasons why. But to see such a team that lived for the moment get knocked down and potentially knocked out by another group like this is just, it's mind-numbing.
Wow, Nick, I hear you talking, and here I go. I told Steiny during the break, you know what? I know it's been strength in numbers for so many years. Curry, I understand they're getting older, but he's still playing. But if you're going to tell me it's the big three and they're getting older, you know what, Nick? To me, they need help. And we saw Kevon Looney look like Moses Malone against the Kings. I know the Lakers aren't the Kings, but now I asked Steiny, I told him, Nick, I don't like we don't know who's starting tonight. And that you got away with it in the past, and that was a feature of your team that gave you advantages. But I'm asking you, with all that said, do you think the two non-scorers, because they had to fix it against the Kings without the two big lineup, do you think that's run its course, and maybe the big three need some more offensive firepower in that lineup?
Absolutely. I mean, Goo, I am right there with you, because as much as that group has earned respect, it feels like the run for that group, for that lineup, just needs to change. And there are a lot of reasons why. I mean, Draymond, of course, is just not close to the same offensive player he used to be. But again, for me, it goes back to Klay. I mean, when you're relying on someone so long to carry you on both ends of the floor, and they're just not able to anymore, that's where you run into some major issues. And this is where, and again, you guys live it all the time. The name we haven't mentioned yet is Wiggins, and he was dealing with a situation which is understandable to anybody. But what are you going to get from him the same way moving forward? Where Are you going with this Klay extension that will be on the horizon? And Woj has already said he wants a max deal. I mean, I know how much Joe Lacob loves Klay, and I know that he doesn't want to see him in another jersey. But with all the financial implications that are going on within this team, Goo, this ties exactly to your point. They need help. Absolutely they do moving forward. But what do you turn what you have into the pieces that you're going to need? And in that regard, the Warriors are like every other team that are going through it, trying to figure out what's going to happen with the new salary cap and the new TV deal. And that ownership group has proven time and again that they'll spend. But you spent in this case. Like, Poole got his money. Klay potentially could get a lot more money. You paid Wiggins. You've got Steph on the max deal. What happens with Draymond? I mean, these are all hard questions, but they're questions that now come back into major focus in the moment, because when you win, you don't have to worry about it as much. When you lose, and you lose the way in which they seem to be about to the Lakers, then everything comes right back up to the front.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, thank you so much, man. Great stuff.
Thanks, buddy.
We wish you nothing but the best.
We're looking at you on TV now, Nick.
Let's go get out here. Let's go out here and have a couple at some point.
I'm getting out there this summer, guys. I can't wait to see you, and it's always good to hear y'all's voice.
All right, that's Nick Friedell, ESPN.
Keeping it 100, Steiny.